A large solar project near Canton continues to move forward with New York State, even though local leaders do have some concerns. We learn more with 7 News reporter Thomas Caffarella.
Solar panels might become a common sight near Canton, as EDF Renewables, a French-based solar company, plans on a solar farm and storage facility called the Rich Road Solar and Storage Project. According to their website, it will power 61,000 homes throughout the state.
When you aggregate these all together, we're talking about replacing a very significant amount of power generation with solar.
Buchman, who is responsible for negotiations with the developer on behalf of the town and village of Canton, says the nearly 2,000-acre project will be set up on farmland. The project brings jobs and investment to the area, but community leaders have concerns about the aesthetics, economics, and the fear of a repeat of what happened at a solar farm near Chameau.
A lot of concerns raised about the battery fire in Chameau that happened last year, and whether or not that could possibly happen in Canton, and whether or not the town and the village fire department are prepared to address a fire such as that.
A project this big is state permitted, and local laws and regulations are superseded. Town and village officials can raise concerns with the state but have no final say. Local leaders voiced their concerns last month, but nothing was changed in the permit.
Disappointment with a capital D.
According to the EDF Renewal website, construction will begin in 2025 with an expected completion date of 2027. Thomas Caffarella, 7 News.